making equipment.
Yeah.
There are various accessories.
Hey, do we cover any of these devices? And he's like, what do you mean? As like part of our tech plan, do we cover any of these list of devices? And he looks over, he's like, no? Where'd you get this list? I'm like, well, a sales associate just contacted me wanting emulation for them all. He's like, what?
We don't do that?
Like, it's not even like a policy of we don't cover that yet. It's a policy of we specifically do not cover these devices.
I see.
Yeah. So yeah. So that was how that day ended. He wanted it by tomorrow as well. And we're all just like, everyone in the internal IT team, including the fucking president, was just like, what? Hey, you're contacting the wrong people to gain access to the wrong service so you can emulate the wrong devices, and you want it all done by tomorrow.
Beautiful. Man, like, as much as I complain about purchasing, sometimes it's great, because sometimes, once a year, your vendors have to kiss your ass, and they take you to steak lunches.
Nice. But, you know what isn't kissing ass?
The garbage on this show?
The shit we're about to cover, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9005. I'm your host, SneakyDevil, and we're doing Pokemon tonight.
We're doing what?
Good.
All right.
Why?
What? Okay, what prompted Pokemon? Wait, is Freya gonna be on here?
We haven't done Pokemon in a while.
I mean, that's fair. I just didn't know.
I
if
would
it was because...
love to get Freya on. That would be fantastic, but he's got a schedule, and I don't know it.
What? You can't just change his schedule to accommodate ours?
I can always ping him. Solar. If you want, we are doing
The Pokemans
tonight. Yeah, so as always, my adventures in the IT sphere have been just about, it was what I expected. Honestly, between this podcast and my previous experience in a call center, the average intelligence of a person is pretty much meeting exactly my new expectations.
Listen, nothing will lower your faith in humanity and the average human intelligence than call center work.
Honestly, really. Yeah.
I don't say that to be mean. I say that because it's just like, boy, by nature of the beast, right?
It's genuinely
Sometimes you're going to get
impressive,
people who have a genuine issue.
And then
But a lot
sometimes
of the
you get
time-
people who are like, I can't log in. I'm like, okay, well, what login information are you using? And they're not using the right username. I'm like, well, yeah, that's why your password's not working. You're trying to sign into someone else's account. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, did you not notice the username isn't you? Oh, no, I didn't notice that. Okay, well, you know, kind
Notice
of
that.
important, yeah. It's kind of, you would think you would pay attention to the username when you log in, because that's one of the things you have to, you know, enter. But then in call centers, there's a distance between you and the caller. Retail means you have to deal with them face to face. True facts.
Oh, that is some of the biggest pain in your
True
life.
facts. Yeah, that's why I'm glad that I'm doing ticket-based IT work instead of hey, come down to my office IT work. Because according to one of my coworkers who works on the on-site division, he's been called out 2 hours away so he could plug a server in, and then drove 2 hours back. And he's like, yeah, they paid me for the 4 hours I was driving. But still, I just spent 4 hours driving so I could plug a server into an outlet. Like, nothing special. It wasn't like some sort of complicated thing. It was just literally just plug it into the outlet and hit the power switch.
Yep, that's a pretty common thing.
And the owner swears up and down he doesn't know how that the power outlet got unplugged. He doesn't know. He doesn't know how it just happened.
Nope, they never do, Sneaky.
I mean, here's the thing.
One of my coworkers drove 2.5 hours one way and 2.5 hours back.
Yeah.
Not even to plug something in.
Yeah.
It was to hit a power switch.
Yeah. Like, I actually had to deal with someone recently who I give credit to them, and, you know, after we discussed it a little bit on the internal side, we all agreed that we would rather have people like this, where they didn't change their password to the point where it expired and they had to get a new password from IT instead of just resetting their password normally, because they thought the emails were a scam email trying to get their password. So they kept ignoring them. And then we were all like,
great thing.
yeah, we were all like, okay, you know what? Ultimately, we prefer that.
Yeah, that is completely fair.
But it made troubleshooting them very difficult because they also kept canceling the remote screen software that was required for us to remote in to help
because
them.
they were afraid that someone was stealing their computer.
Yeah, they were afraid that, like, oh, the Chrome's just initiating this download. What's going on? I'm like, you have to accept it. But, okay, fine, I accepted it. Okay, you have to install it now. How do I install it? You have to double-click it. Am I double-clicking the right one? No. I still don't have access to your computer.
Listen, I appreciate that, well, especially because, like...
yeah,
listen,
it's like, okay, you know what? I'll take that. I'll take that.
My company instituted something great, which is basically, it's the suspicious email dump, right?
Yeah.
So you send it there, and right, if it's something that you think you might need to get, but it seems fishy, send it there, and IT will take a quick look at it on a secured device and make sure that if it's the Trojan that's going to steal all the company financial documents, it doesn't go anywhere, right? But I sometimes use that. Sometimes I send them there to IT with, I don't actually need you to check this, but laugh at how obvious this one is, boys. Because we got one from a vendor that we haven't dealt with in about 4 years saying, please look at this acknowledgement, which I copied the hyperlink, and I was like, let's see where this hyperlink goes. And it led you to a screenshot of please download Adobe PDF Reader with the link led to like some Dropbox thing, and I was like, uh-huh. Guys, you might have done better with this if the image you selected of Adobe PDF didn't have about half as many pixels as my screen.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But look, honestly, what I've learned is the average person would fall for it.
I mean, that's who they're trying to hit.
Yeah.
The average person.
I mean, I recently had a case where someone had a massive memory leak, and their computer hadn't been updating for 3 months now, but they had a massive memory leak. And their solution to the memory leak was to, instead of getting a better computer or reinstalling Windows on it or literally anything that would have actually worked, their solution was to buy more RAM.
I mean, technically that's a solution.
Yeah, it would be if it was like a normal memory leak where like a gigabyte here and there went missing every day or something. No, we're talking about we're talking Chrome levels of memory leak because it was Chrome memory leaking. We're talking Chrome levels of memory leak in where literally 16 gigabytes would be snatched up in an hour. And yeah, we were kind of just like, we have to replace your computer. We can't give you more memory because
we can't fix that, boys.
yeah. I was like, that's not how that's gonna happen. We have to give you a new computer. But okay, we're not doing the first story because I saw the word Wattpad in there.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're not doing that. Let's see. We're waking up. Oh, Coma Ash. All right, so we're waking up to an adventure. 10-year-old
boy.
Ash is starting his Pokemon journey. Determined to beat his rival Gary Oak, his less than stellar sleeping schedule and overexcitement makes it so he doesn't end up sleeping at all.
Max, why would you
Exhausted.
send me that? You know what that's gonna do to me.
Exhausted and exhilarated, his journey to become a Pokemon master starts here. Okay, actually, I thought this was going to be like some sort of Coma Ash bullshit, but it turns out it was just completely Sleepy Ash bullshit. And I'm cool with that. But,
Sleepy Ash bullshit.
well, I mean, the thing is here is like, oh, Ash starts with a Squirtle instead of Pikachu, and this radically changes his Pokemon adventure, which, yeah, it kind of does. You know, Team Rocket never gets on his ass, but Team Rocket also kind of helped save the world multiple times. So if Team Rocket never got on his ass, I guess the world's doomed.
If it's one of those things where the only reason the world was in danger multiple times is because Ash got his Pikachu.
Yeah.
Him being there was just the universe's way of trying to restore order. It's like, you caused this mess, you're going to fix it.
Okay, so the Mewtwo movie might still happen. Because the reason why Ash got the invitation to the Mewtwo Island was because he completed all 8 badges, and they were specifically harvesting Pokemon of trainers that did the circuit. So that movie would still happen.
Go for that,
yeah, that movie would still happen. Pokemon 2000, fantastic movie, absolutely way too good of a movie for it to be a Pokemon movie, but it was a fucking good movie. That was a good one. That was the Lugia Oho one. That was the Lugia one. That would still happen because that was a rich person who decided that slavery was cool. Pokemon 3 was... That was Celebi?
Don't remember, man.
I never knew to begin with.
Oh, well, really?
I saw the
only
movie.
ones...
I saw Pokemon 2000. I know that the Celebi movie existed, but like I didn't.
I think Celebrity was 3. Yeah, Celebi was 3.
Listen, Celebi was the Pokemon movie where I stopped paying attention to Pokemon.
That's fair.
Because it started to get creepy, or rather, the internet showed me the creepy side of the fandom.
That's fair. Celebi, I honestly don't know. So Celebi, that whole thing was about a Team Rocket member showing up to enslave Celebi because slavery is cool. But the Celebi thing kind of introduces a little rinky-dink to the whole Ash not getting Pikachu thing. Because Professor Oak saw Ash with Pikachu in the Celebi movie in the past. So that's how he knew to capture that Pikachu to give to Ash in the present.
Oh. That's a little weird.
Yeah, so
That's a lot weird.
I mean, I guess you could hand wave that with Professor Oak just knows what Ash's starter is every single time. So I guess there's that. Sorry, Pokemon 3 is Entei. So was Celebi 5 then? No, Pokemon Forever was Latios and Latios.
I'm sorry, can we find a fanfic where Oak is freaking out about the temporal?
That would be pretty funny, actually. Of like,
Ash, are you sure you don't want this Pikachu?
Ash shows up to get his Pokedex,
sure
and he's
want...
like, "Hey, Ash, welcome. I see you're late. Do you need a Pokemon?" He's like, Ash is like, "Nah, I caught a Pokemon already. This Caterpie here." He's like, "Fuck." Latios was 5?
Wait, hang on.
Oh shit. Oh shit, was Latios really 5? Oh, I guess you're on the wiki. But yeah, no, honestly, quite a number of those movies were actually really intense and shockingly dark.
I mean,
like shockingly dark.
Hasn't Ash died like 3 or 4 times in the movies?
He dies in the earlier movies, the ones that I remember watching. So in the earlier movies, up to like I remember watching up to like 6. He died in almost every single one. Yeah. I think the Celebi one was the only one he didn't die in.
What the fuck?
He's
this poor kid.
Yeah.
Can't catch a break.
Up to it, including death.
Yeah. I think the Latios one was like he sort of died, but then Latios sacrificed himself to like stop it instead or something.
Like, okay, I think I've seen the Mewtwo one. I think I've seen the Entei one, because that was where Entei adopted
to be fair,
a kid,
he only
right?
died outright in the Mewtwo one. Yeah, that's fair.
And then
the only other
Mewtwo
one
felt
I
bad about it
remember-
and went, you know what?
No,
People
Mewtwo,
ain't
Mewtwo
so
didn't do
bad.
that. All the Pokemon crying did it. Yeah, somehow that happened.
The only one I remember for sure was I think it was Minifee when he was still traveling with May.
Oh yeah. Didn't they do the heart swap shit? That was kind of weird.
They found a underwater ruin or
underwater
something.
temple. Yeah.
I remember that one. It's just like, I think Ash just drowned. I think this boy was legally dead for 3 minutes.
I did laugh really hard at the Jirachi one, where May shouted, "Get rid of the problem," and Jirachi disappears May.
Wait.
Yes, that is an actual thing that happens.
Yeah, so basically Jirachi's the wish-granting Pokemon, and everyone's making all these wishes, and like Jirachi's like summoning, summoning, not creating. So like when Jirachi does a wish, it's like sort of those like monkey paw wishes, where it's like, oh, I wish for candy. It doesn't create candy, it teleports candy from like a candy store to you.
Okay.
But so like all of this shit was going on, and May shouts at Jirachi, get rid of the problem. So Jirachi's like, get rid of the problem? Got it. And teleports May away.
It's a little known fact that in addition to being
Based.
It's a little known fact that in addition to being Jirachi, the Pokemon of wishes, Jirachi was also the Pokemon of sick fucking burns.
Yeah. It was like, damn. No, the later
That's pretty good.
Yeah, the later Pokemon movies got way less serious than the earlier Pokemon movies. Like, the first one was about self-sacrifice, and overcoming your birth, and a whole bunch of really intense issues. The second one was lessons about greed, again, sacrifice, overcoming odds through friendship and faith. The fourth one, I don't think, Celebi was kind of just about greed and not letting greedy people destroy nature or some shit.
Yeah.
But Latios was like straight up just, again, about self-sacrifice, accepting changes in your life and all that shit. And it's just like, damn, some of these fucking movies got deep, and it's like, what's the newest Pokemon movie? It's like, oh, Ash sees a battle between Pokemon and was there, and then said, but wait, Pokemon, what if friend? And then the Pokemon were like, oh yeah, I guess. And that's
What
the
if
movie.
friend?
We were just doing the first movie again, but, without
Worse.
the overcoming the horrible circumstances of whatever unfortunate birth you may have
Yeah,
gone through.
like damn, like the first fucking
kind of a
Pokemon movie was
step-
crazy, yeah.
That's kind of a step down. Cause the third one I remember was like accepting loss and overcoming your grief.
Oh yeah, overcoming grief. Yeah. Like it was.
Because I remember the big thing was that, like, the daughter lost her father, and Entei is like, I can fill in for this, and
Yeah, and
everything
then
went to shit as
she
a result.
basically went on a power fantasy power trip, and it was teaching lessons about how you need to move on past your trauma, and how letting go doesn't mean forgetting, and that you can't live in a fantasy world all your life. And I mean, it was really taking, like, it just, like, fucking filled a 50 BMG magazine and kind of just unloaded on all of the Pokemon fans that are writing fanfiction right now. Because, like, all of these fucking stories are like OP Ash harem, Ash betrayal fic, OP Ash betrayal harem fic. Meanwhile, Pokemon movie, you gotta accept, the licks in life and move on. And it was a Pokemon when Ash and Lucario one was about, like,
Gaining sick ass powers to be a wizard.
I mean, yeah, there's that, but also it was sort of like the sins of the father are not the sins of the son, and like all that like shit. It's like,
Which is really important for all the murders Ash's father committed.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, never proven
Listen,
in court.
just reminder, it was a war.
3 was weird because the unknown were trying to grant her wish. Yeah. But honestly, like, they were all fucking really good. Like, yeah, Pokemon Forever. So I at least got the title right. Pokemon Heroes, yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were good. They were good movies. I really liked them. But so yeah, you know what? Waking up to an adventure could be good. I mean, it's could be good, I say, but it's got 28 chapters. Respectable, 186,000 words. So I mean, that's a good word count per chapter. That's like what, 8-9K words per chapter. I mean, it's been updating since January, but it's got 76 favorites, which, I mean, no real big criticisms going on here. So hey, the story might be good.
It could just mean that it's garbage.
Oh, apparently the grammar's horrible. Okay, to be expected. Not that big of an issue. Honestly, all things considered, it could be worse. I mean, like, look, their premise isn't cringe. Their summary is coherent. We can give them a pass on the grammar. Then meanwhile, we have PokeFan1337 here.
I hate you.
Yeah, well. Pokemon The Redwood Saga. See my profile page to get the real summary. You can also find this story on DeviantArt. You should give me more ideas for more chapters by DMing me, or leave it in a review. Now, if we're going to talk bad numbers, let's talk this story. So first off, summary, trash. This summary tells us nothing. In fact, it actively pushes people away because not only does it tell us nothing, it has deviant art links and saying that we need to visit his profile so we can understand the true depth of his story. Which, again, if you cannot fit your summary into the summary section, which, don't get me wrong, the summary section is actually quite big. You can fit a lot into the summary section. And if you can't fit a summary to your story premise into the summary section, you gotta get a better story premise. Like, I'm not talking some, like, fucking inside cover level summary. Like, you don't need to type down 9 paragraphs so you can really trench the reader into your story. Because unfortunately, we just don't have the space on fanfiction.net to do that. But if you just can't even get the premise down to your story in the summary section, like, come on. But we will look at his story summary, because I just want to make fun of it, because this is what I'm talking about here. So we got 51 chapters. We got 700,000 words, which, credit where it's due again, that's a respectable word count. 47 reviews, 100 favorites. It's not good, especially when this story has been ongoing for 5 years now. That is not good.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is what we call bad.
That's a lot of time investment for very little payoff. When the bad grammar guy can make a better summary, yeah, pretty much. Hello there, if you are reading this, you probably expect a summary for the stories I've written. Apparently that's normal to do? No, the summary should be in the summary section. That's why it's called the summary section. It's wild. I know at first glance that might not be obvious, but that's what it is. Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about here. He's got a whole inside cover summary going on, like he's some sort of published fiction, which he isn't, being that he's writing a Pokemon story on fanfiction.net. The Redwood Saga. I misspelled the word sage far too many times. It's not a good way to start your summary. This story is about Pokemon. Wouldn't need to say that if you actually put it in the summary. Set in a unique AU based on our Earth. 20,000 years after Pokemon appear. Okay, so it's just straight up a full-on fictional AU in which Arceus saved Earth and created Pokemon to live alongside the humans that survived the Rapture. But don't worry, all of the named characters from Pokemon will still appear in his complete AU that takes place in a setting that is nowhere related to canon Pokemon.
Of course.
Also, it's a multiverse story where they'll be crossing over into other Pokemon universes. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah. I'm busy, but have money. Thank you. The setting is a post-apocalyptic Earth? Yeah. Yeah. Alright, so Pokemon Dark Chaos. Kai, a young Aura user and talented trainer who just won the Johto League tournament, is tasked by Cynthia to take down the evil organization known as Team Chaos. Chaos plans to use Giratina to destroy and rebuild the world. So, galactic. Why isn't Cynthia fighting them?
Cynthia has joined them.
Oh, of course, yes. Except for the part where Cynthia is tasking Kai from Johto League to do it. Yeah. With the help of May, Cynthia, and other OCs, I am still accepting OC submissions. That's never good. Galactic isn't edgy enough. Galactic was pretty edgy. Also, they had a pretty good backstory, too. Kai will have to succeed in his mission. What could ever go wrong? Massive Pokemon AU. 1,000 word chapters posted over the course of the past week. 2 favorites, 7 reviews. Jesus Christ. Did you read the OC I submitted you? Did you read the OC I submitted you? Did you read the OC I submitted you? Did you read the OC I submitted you?
One of those.
Yeah. Honestly, I am frankly shocked how dead the Pokemon section is. Though, to be fair, I guess, the fan base, us, isn't really involved in Pokemon anymore. Like, our age group is kind of just checked out of Pokemon.
For a while, they tried to, like, suck the next generation in, but it didn't work.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the kids, but the kids don't go to fanfiction.net anymore. They go to AO3 and Tumblr. So they can have sex with their Pokemon waifus. Pokemon fatigue hit our generation really hard. Yeah, it did. I mean, it's the shit we were saying is, like, we really enjoyed these, like, remakes where they, like, Fire Red was perfect. Fire Red was fantastic. Soul Silver, everything we wanted. But then, like, the remakes from there on out just got lazier and lazier. What was the one with the Battle Island where you could get Heatran? What was that? Was that Diamond and Silver?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Right.
Yeah, that was the last non-remake generation I played was Platinum. So
I did play Black, and then I actually fell off after Black. Because what happened was, I had a Charizard that I had brought up all the way from Pokemon Red.
Yeah.
And then I lost my card, and then I lost my Black.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I did the same thing. I did one time because I ended up buying pretty much everything but Black and White. I wanted to do what was called the Generation Run, which is where you play all the way from Fire Red. Because of how some of the shit changed, like you actually you couldn't bring Pokemon from Red and Blue past a certain generation.
Oh, really? They did that?
Yeah, it was because of some sort of coding thing, apparently. And people independently, like, confirmed that or whatever, whereas, like, literally, like, Pokemon of this age physically could not be imported into the new games because they had, like, tags or some shit attached to them that, like, the newer games couldn't understand or something.
Oh, so past a certain point, I wouldn't have been able to bring up the Charizard anyway?
Yeah, so what you had to do is, if you wanted to do that, you had to do it from Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Oh, so, well, no, I had Fire Red, so I'd have been fine.
Oh,
Damn
yeah,
it.
no, I meant, like, Red, like, Game Boy
Yeah.
Advance Red. Sorry, Omega Ruby was the last Oh, that's right, Omega Ruby. I got Omega Ruby. I played it to, like, the point where you find the Omega Evolution, and then I was kind of just like and then never came back to it. But I did was called a generation play, where I started in Fire Red with a team, and then every time I went to go to the next generation, I would make my team have kids, and then import those eggs into the next generation.
Oh! That's cool.
Very neat.
No, Jin, I think it was something. It was something with. It was a problem with like Pokemon Home or something, Pokemon Zoo, or it was a problem with one of the import programs. I think it wouldn't accept Pokemon from the earliest generation. But yeah, so I imported the eggs, the next generation each time. And so that was actually really fun. I got all the way up to, I think it was Black and White. I went from Gen 1 all the way up to Gen 5 doing that, and then I kind of got bored and just stopped.
Yeah, like I said, I remember because when I finally got all the way to Black, I checked the Pokemon history, and it's like, this Pokemon has been on an incredibly long journey, and I found out that was something you only got if it was, I don't remember if it was from like Diamond and Pearl or Fire Red, but it was like, listen, if the Pokemon's been through X number of games, that's how you get that text. I was like, oh, that's a nice little touch.
Yeah, I've never heard of that, but I believe it. I mean, they've done shit like that before. But no, I fell off because it was both during a time where I didn't really do handheld gaming anymore. And also the newer Pokemon games were kind of just either too easy or just weren't appealing to me anymore, because like I didn't like the Pokemon designs, or I didn't like the motivations for the enemy, for the people you were fighting. Like the whole, like with Black and White, that's why I never did Black and White, because I was like the fucking hippy dippy dudes that were secretly criminals all along. Oh, that's like that's just lame. Arceus was refreshing. Arceus was okay. From what I hear, Sword and Shield is gonna be, or sorry, no, not Sword and Shield, the new one, the new game that's coming out after Arceus.
Violet?
Whatever, yeah, Violet and Purple, or whatever they're called. Apparently they're trying to do a new take on Pokemon now, and they're removing a bunch of shit like fishing and biking. Yeah. So I'm just kind of like, whatever. You know, Sun and Moon, I never got into it. X and Y, I barely played it. The remakes kind of really fell off for me because they weren't adding anything new. Like with the Heart Gold and Soul Silver remake, and even the Omega Ruby remake, they were adding new shit. And then they got to the Platinum remake, and they're just like, it's Platinum again.
We've changed nothing.
Yeah, we've done nothing. I'm like, well, the old Platinum holds up just fine. What is the new one at? Nothing? Okay, cool. Well, I'm not gonna buy it or play it then. Yeah, the Tomboy Professor, yeah. Scarlet Violet, yeah. I will link this one just so I can torture Solar if he ever shows up in chat. This is a prequel from our other story, Brick Bronze, inspired by Arceus. Meh. Minutes to midnight. The world has lost its greatest champions. Chris and Saber, heirs to Cynthia and Lance. Okay. Alright.
Cringe.
Cringe already. Chase peace and answers in the mystery of their parents' deaths. All while the fame seeker CL must put his Sinnoh gym challenge on hold to face the growing unrest in a land without hope. Sinister forces lurk behind the scenes, and the hands approach midnight. Yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. We start off with OCs. Not a huge fan of the OC thing. Sometimes you can get OC Pokemon stories. Like I was reading one OC Pokemon story where it's an isekai into the Ore region. And to those who remember Pokemon Coliseum, Ore is fucking dark.
Yeah, Coliseum was a thing.
It was actually pretty fucked up. The lore and everything. So, I mean, that was sort of interesting. And also, you know, key factor here is the OC wasn't OP as shit. So that's...
I mean, it's really easy to not make an OP OC. Like,
yeah. I especially in Pokemon, half of the thing is the journey as they grow, and it's like going from 0 to hero. That's kind of the whole Pokemon shtick, is 0 to hero. So when you start off your character being like, oh, this is the daughter of Cynthia, and she was trained by Pokemon champions, and it's got this amazing team already, and now they gotta go beat the bad guys, and somehow the bad guys are more competent. And it takes them really long to beat them, and then the world almost ends, and then they win, because Pokemon and they're heroes. I don't know. I'm not, this is not McDonald's, and I'm not loving it.
ba-da-ba-ba, sadness.
It's McDonald's. Yeah, also the whole, like, oh, the champions are all dead, so no one can stop the bad guys. It's just a bunch of tropes that are really, I'm not super enthused by. Like, for example, why Professor Oak never stops the bad guys in canon Pokemon is because Professor Oak only knows about this shit way too fucking late for him to actually come and help.
He's in the ass end of nowhere.
And I mean, don't get me wrong, the second that Professor Oak, in one of the movies, the second Professor Oak found out about Ash facing some sort of life and death scenario and, like, the end of the world, he was like, oh, okay, you're doing that? Alright, let's go. Fucking got a private helicopter and fucking zoomed his way down there. But, it's just like... I don't know. The whole classic, oh, the mentors are dead, so now the apprentices have to step up and save the day is kind of a staple of fiction, of fantasy fiction, and not really a great trope to use in fan fiction because, the setting should have already done that. And if you're doing that in the setting, that means you're killing off a named character. So your character can take the spotlight. Which, being that it's fan fiction, people kind of come to see the characters they're fans of, not your OC being their secret daughter or some shit. Who's gonna save the day instead, Yeah, so, not loving it. Well, holy shit, 3.6, I think we've covered this one before, the Pokemon Academy, Beginning of Beginnings. With the OC and the 3.6...
Oh God, we might have!
Nearly 1,000 chapters, 3.6 million words.
Yes, we've run into this one.
360 favorites!
I'm pretty sure we ran into this one. Yeah. We looked at the first chapter, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see what's at the last chapter. What the fuck is going on?
Yeah, we've done this one before, yeah. Yeah, Jesus Christ, holy shit, 987 chapters. Oh boy. I mean, honestly, author, I'll say it again, and I'll say it again. Please, for the love of God, just go write your own story. You have literally written 36 books of completely original content that if it wasn't in the Pokemon universe, might actually be better. Might. But, you got 4,400 reviews and only 36 favorites. That's brutal, man. You got more chapters than favorites. That's not an area you want to be in. We got a bold fellow here. A very bold fellow. Saviors of Tomorrow, Part 1. Mary and Jackie from the Aspartame region have graduated trainer school and are ready to journey with their own Pokemon. But not even the start of it goes smoothly. They soon after are hunted by various dangers, some of them sickening and scary beyond human understanding, from wild hypno-raping children to disgusting lies of someone's entire life. So someone's clearly trying for the ultra dark Pokemon run. 80 chapters, 126k words, so a decent amount of word count for each chapter. And it's only been a year, so decent update rate as well, all things considered. Yeah, not looking too enthusiastic about these other numbers here. We got 9 reviews. Over the course of 1 year, they've managed to collect 9 reviews and 2 favorites. And the reviewer is the same person.
Oh boy.
Why is Hypno targeting these girls? Can't imagine. Can't imagine. Yeah, the Pokemon section is depressingly dead. I'm gonna be real here, like 65 favorites, 6 favorites, 8 favorites. Like back in the day, posting a Pokemon fic, like back in like 2014, 2015, posting a Pokemon fic, just posting a fic, got you like 80 favorites. Didn't you have to be good? Like just posting it got you favorites. Good thing you didn't go with Raking Up for Adventure. It's just an anime rewrite with Squirtle only instead of Pikachu. Yeah, kind of saw that one coming. Yeah.
Yeah, because Squirtle's going to be such a problem for the flock of Spearows.
I've seen the Marvel animated movie. It was as shit as a fan fiction. All of the children of the Avengers end up beating a threat that killed all of the Avengers. Yeah, it's the whole kill your mentor thing. Doesn't work. Usually, a proper kill your mentor trope usually involves the mentor being extremely old, or being taken unprepared, or it's a self-sacrificing moment where so hero goes in, is fighting someone, the person's way out of the hero's league, the hero starts losing, the mentor could beat them, but in doing so the hero would die, so the mentor does something that saves the hero but ultimately opens them up for some attack, or they take an attack to protect the hero or something like that along those lines. So while they normally wouldn't have been defeated by this character, they do get defeated because the hero was in the way effectively, and so then the hero has to go on this whole journey where they internalize their PTSD, learn to forgive themselves for causing their mentor's death, and eventually grow as a person and in power to defeat the person that killed their mentor. And usually the person that ended up killing their mentor was usually not even the big bad, it was usually the big bad's right-hand man, and usually the next book or the next scene is then taking on the big bad. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is the mentor was really old and they aren't at their prime anymore, so they die, which means that the character that killed the mentor that trained the hero isn't actually stronger than the mentor. It's just that the mentor is now weaker than the guy who killed them. Other shit like, oh, the mentor got locked away in some sort of like Spartal prison or some shit with Ooka Spooka magic, and so like it's a super rare device or something that the big bad prepared just for the mentor because of how dangerous the mentor was, and so they locked the mentor away, preventing them from helping the hero and saving the day and fixing the problem. Like there's a lot of ways to do it. What you don't do is you don't have the heroes in their prime duke out with the big bad, and then the big bad kills them all in a straight fight. Because then that means the big bad is collectively more powerful than the characters that was shown to us previously as being strong and being able to beat all these other guys. And that just adds so much of a gap between the hero and the big bad that it becomes very hard to justify why the big bad hasn't won by the time the hero gets to them and is able to actually fight them. Because if they were that powerful, then, you know, by the time the hero got to them, well, you know, it's like, why haven't they won yet? Road to Pokemon Master version 2. Coordinator Ash. After a shocking end to the Silver Conference, Ash and Pikachu head off to Hoenn alone, taking on a new team of trainers and teaching them what it means to be a Pokemon Master. Ash times Flannery.
Who the fuck is Flannery?
Fire Gym. Diamond and Pearl. Fire Gym.
Yeah. No. Not a single recollection.
Lava Town.
Could not care less.
Sporty Redhead.
No, like, I get what you're saying. I'm sure I fought them. They were just such a nothing to me because, like, I had a Charizard.
Pretty,
I had a
like,
Charizard,
look, don't get me wrong.
and I didn't care.
By the time you get to Flannery, there is not a single way you could have played the game if you got to Flannery. There's not a single way you could have played the game. You could have played the game with level 1 grass types, and if you got to Flannery, she was easily beaten. Like,
Okay, good.
Yeah, no, like, no one remembers Flannery, because she wasn't a memorable... Flannery, yeah, sorry, Ruby Sapphire, my bad, yeah. She was in Lava Ridge.
Yeah, but, like,
Yeah.
again, my point is, I had a Charizard with Fly and Dragon Claw and what's the fire version? Why can I not remember the fire version of Hyper Beam?
Blast Burn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I forget what my last move was, but it was like, listen, nothing here is actually a threat to me.
Yeah, yeah. Fucking hell. What were the starters in Ruby Sapphire? I should know. I played that game the most.
That was Torchic, Trico,
Oh, yeah.
and...
Yeah. And, Mudkip.
Mudkip.
Yep.
Ah, yes. Mistake Kip.
Yeah, objectively, Torchic was just the hands-down best, starter.
Yeah. As much as I like.
Like, it was literally, it was speed specialization, it got a fighting type. Like,
it was a fire type.
It was a firefighting with speed and attack stats. Like,
there was very few things that could.
Well, I was gonna say the thing that made it right, because like the Mudkip was a decent contender because it was relatively hard to take down, but even though it had type advantage over Torchic, it's like, okay, but what if I did double kick?
Right. Yeah, well, yeah, not only that, but between double kick and all of the elemental punches you could learn, like, fighting type disadvantage with the Torchic line was a joke. Because of the fighting type opened up so many moves to the Torchic line that you could just counter all of your disadvantages with. And so it was such a fucking joke. Also, they almost always attacked first. Rocket Exterminator, to borrow a quote from my previous life, I'm the best there is at what I do, but what I do isn't very nice. Right or wrong, good or evil, none of that matters. I am the Rocket Exterminator. It's my job to exterminate threats to the Rockets. But what I truly want is to exterminate Team Rocket. For that, I'll wait for my opportunity.
Okay, so this is supposed to be... This is obviously supposed to fucking be Wolverine. He would have literally no trouble getting rid of all of Team Rocket because even if he doesn't have any of Wolverine's abilities, he has literally hundreds of years of being a soldier and fighting as a normal soldier, like hiding the fact that he can take
I mean,
bullets and get up.
yeah, but it's just an isekai of a normal person. It's not Wolverine.
Immensely disappointing.
Yeah. Dude's got 38 chapters, 212k words. And he's got some good stats on this one, I will admit. He's got 800 reviews, 1,500 favorites, and 1,500 follows, ongoing over the course of 2 years. So he's not only got a good update rate, he's got a good word count and a decent following base. So, I mean, it might be a good story. So let's see. Let's see if this edgy OC... Now, I will give the caveat here for the whole edgy OC thing. If you die, and then you get reincarnated when you die, I can easily see a person not placing too much value on human life anymore. Because it's like, okay, well, I died and I got reincarnated. Either you go on the massive ego trip of, I am super special, I alone was reincarnated, or when humans die, they get reincarnated, so people dying isn't that big of a deal.
They'll go to a better place.
Or they end up in 40k and then they go to a better place.
Yes.
But, like, you see what I mean, though? Is either they ego trip out, or the value of human life massively decreases because people just reincarnate and it's not that big of a deal anymore. So I can see ways you can justify having an edgy, I'm just gonna murder people left and right OC. But will they do that?
Well, not.
Probably not, no. Yeah, it's probably gonna be I was inspired by Shiro Dark Wolf's edgy gamer OC's kind of story.
I despise you, whoever you are.
Anyway, author note. I always wanted to write a Pokemon story from a villain point of view, and I had this idea a long time ago. So you're a anti-hero, right? Is that what it is? So you have your hero who does good things for good reasons.
Yes.
You have your villain who does bad things for bad reasons. You have your anti-villain who does bad things for good reasons. And then you have your anti-hero who does bad things. Sorry, who does good things for bad reasons?
No, bad thing. Yes. No, they do bad things for good reasons. The Punisher is an anti-hero. What he does is, right, objectively speaking, wrong.
Right, okay, so then he's an anti-villain because he's doing good things for... Oh, hold on.
It is very confusing on what is what.
Let me just...
Main character in a story. Okay. I'm sorry. Is a main character in a story anti-hero who lacks conventional heroic qualities and attributes such as idealism, courage, and morality.
An anti-villain is the opposite of the anti-hero. A character with heroic goals, traits, personalities, virtues, who is ultimately a villain. So the wait, is the anti-hero then? Oh, God, some people have to. You can't just.
Okay. The anti-hero is, the short answer is, it's someone who is quote unquote a hero, but lacks what you might consider traditionally heroic qualities.
So an anti-villain is someone who's a villain but lacks villainous qualities.
To put it simply, yes. Like James Blackadder and everything spawned from him up to and including Caiaphas Cain. Caiaphas Cain describes himself as a coward, a horrible person, etc., etc. He considers himself to be an anti-hero.
Their desire ends are mostly good, but their means of getting there range from evil to undesirable. Alternatively, their goals might be selfish or have long-term consequences they don't care about, but they're good people who might team up with the heroes if their goals don't conflict. They often reach a kind of critical mass that makes them more good than normal villains, but not quite heroes, blurring the line between hero and villain the same way anti-hero does, but from the opposite direction. Okay. So this guy is an anti-villain. He is doing villainous shit with the ultimate goal of getting high enough in the Rocket organization that he can kill them all.
I need to steal enough Pokemon so that I can meet Giovanni, so that I can end his fucking life.
I mean, honestly...
Joke's on you, Giovanni has a secret Pokemon. Do you want to know what it is?
My dick?
No, it's his gun.
You know, I can actually see Giovanni doing that.
Well, welcome, trader. Pulls out Glock.
Yeah.
No, more like... you've beaten me, trainer. All of my Pokemon are defeated. But...
Holds Glock.
I guess I will be arrested now. If not for
This
my
gun
one
I have.
final Pokemon. On guard, trainer!
This sawed-off
Pulls out
shotgun!
gun. Bam! Yeah. This sawed-off shotgun I have in the plant. This plant that is also a gun.
Trainer, I did not think this through when facing the obvious mafia boss.
Right.
Giovanni tries to shoot the player. Hits the Rhydon instead.
Unfortunately for you, he was using black tip armor piercing.
Unfortunately, the Rhydon used Harden.
See,
Who
that's
the
where you
fuck
just
use-
pull out the
Who the
Norwegian
fuck uses
50
AP
BMG.
rounds on a fucking shotgun?
Well, I mean, technically speaking, just using a slug on a shotgun is pretty much armor piercing.
Okay, let me rephrase that. Who the fuck uses a slug on a fucking sawn off?
Someone who enjoys surprises.
Someone who
Who-
really wants to
who-
ruin someone
how
else's day.
How fucking like
If sentient keys can exist as a Pokemon, why can't guns? See, that was the joke about Pokemon Gun. Sword, shield, and gun. You know, you had the joke. It was waiting for you, Nintendo. You didn't take it.
Well, isn't that because it was in England?
Jesus Christ, Max.
That
You
was
can't
a
even be
big...
mad at Max. That was fabulously done.
He's gonna shank ya. Oh, well, I hope they don't make a Pokemon based in Sweden anytime soon, because then we'll just have Pokemon Grenade.
Sneaky, Pokemon, I collapsed all the bridges.
I think you're thinking of, was that Sweden?
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
also Sweden.
Yeah, okay, good.
Sweden,
Everyone
they don't
has
have
a
they don't just have
full-
plans to collapse all the bridges. Every bridge, every tunnel, every remotely traversable mountain path.
Yeah, we've wired our infrastructure.
Just be
It's
careful when you
wired.
read the Pokemon M rating, you'll get a lot of smut. We'll see, the thing is that, no one really writes for the Pokemon section anymore, apparently. Pokemon
What?
Sword, Pokemon Shield, and Pokemon License. You got a license for that Pokemon? You got a license for that Thunderbolt? You don't actually buy the TM, you buy a license to buy the TM?
Makes sense.
Actually, yeah. Hang on a second. TMs and HMs are technically weapons of they're actually weapons. Why are
Oh,
those not
literally, yeah.
regulated better?
Oh yeah, absolutely, they're weapons.
Like,
Probably.
any rando can just come up and buy one.
Yeah.
Like they don't ask to see your license as a
They
trainer.
literally sell them to 10-year-olds.
Well, yeah, but the 10-year-olds are normally trainers.
Max, that's like saying, oh, well, you see, this 10-year-old has a concealed carry license, which means it's okay for them to buy
Okay,
the buy
but
the
Sneaky,
MP5.
this is a world where 10-year-olds are encouraged to have the concealed carry license.
Personally, I think this is that's actually a government psyop to reduce the amount of humans.
I feel like it's more the fact that, according to most of Pokemon, like 50% of all adults died during the wars.
No, that's just fan conjecture based on world setting.
Yeah, no, that's all fan conjecture. The only like
Well,
confirmation.
we know there was a massive war. We know
Yeah,
that there are veterans, and we know that it really messed some people up psychologically.
like Lieutenant Surge. Poor Lieutenant Surge, man.
Yes.
He's a hero, damn it. Who may or may not have committed war crimes. We don't actually know.
He
Why am I
definitely
imagining
committed war
Platoon-
crimes.
Why am I
He
imagining Platoon
1000%
now, but
committed
it's
war
Pokemon?
crimes. That would actually be really funny. I would genuinely love to see that.
Okay, wait.
Iago in strings when it's
Uh.
just like thunderbolts and like fireballs going
Yeah,
off.
well,
I
in the
would
distance.
also like to see equally as much a Tropic Thunder Pokemon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
oh, jeez.
Yes,
Okay.
but Sneaky. What is the Pokemon equivalent of MASH?
Oh god.
Gym badges are just concealed carry licenses. Fair. Base crimes? Fair.
You know, let's be real. The way the background implies things, that was the first war that humans sort of like interacted with Pokemon. Every other time they mention like wars, it's always between Pokemon, and humans are just kind of like, well, I hope they don't blow up our town today.
No. So for canon so far, the canonical Great War was between Kanto, Johto, and Or. And that laid waste to Or and made it basically a wasteland. And
Where's
that was
Or?
Or is Australia.
How the fuck did Australia
is
become Pokemon Germany? The fuck?
Is Or one of the Coliseum games?
Or is Coliseum, yeah.
Oh, that's horrifying.
Yeah. That's
But-
why Or is as bad as it is because it's basically a wasteland due to the fact that Pokemon were finally introduced as a military-industrial complex weapon rather than just a collection of trainers fighting under a banner.
Okay then.
Oh no, it was World War One.
Because yeah,
no.
Because if you remember from Pokemon Lucario, the one where Ash is at the castle, they actually go into how medieval kingdoms usually fought with knights, with champions, or as levy armies, or levy armies supported by Pokemon.
Okay, well let's back up a moment. The anime canon is, for all intents and purposes, a bit different from the game canon. Which is different from the manga canon, which is different from another manga canon. There's 4 canons occurring in this series.
That's fair. All right, so by game canon, Galar had a civil war. By game canon, Or was at war with Johto Kanto, and by game canon, Johto and Kanto also had multiple wars with each other. But Or was the first one in game canon to have modern implementation of Pokemon as like artillery and shit instead of just duking it out on a battlefield. And Galar was where they were just duking it out on the battlefield.
Okay.
And X and Y
That's-
had the super weapon.
Yeah.
And during the war.
Recent
Oh, yeah,
Pokemon
that was an
anime made
implication,
all of the
wasn't it?
movies canon. Yes, Pokemon anime did make all the movies canon, but that's for the anime. Because the anime lore is different from the game lore, which is different from the manga lore, as Max said.
Which
The manga lore
has two
is
different
actually
lores.
yeah, the manga lore is actually even more fucked up than the game lore.
Yeah, it's also the best Pokemon story.
It really is, yeah.
It's so good because it's like, how do you do the Pokemon world justice? Oh well, every new generation you meet a new generation.
Well, I mean, not only that, the questions that you had to ask when you played the games or watched the anime were answered in the manga of like, hey, doesn't the Pokemon League have way too much centralized power? The manga's like, yes, I'm glad you asked. The Pokemon League is basically the Mafia. It's like, oh.
It's the Mafia, but a little bit more benevolent.
No, they're not benevolent at all. In the manga, dude, the Pokemon League actively sabotaged trainers and killed people off if they got too strong and didn't bend knee.
Oh my lord.
Are you talking about the Kanto League? Because I definitely remember all of the Pokemon League.
I mean, they
not
had a
being
literal
that.
ninja on staff.
They literally
Oh,
had
wait,
an assassin
yeah,
on
no,
staff.
Yeah, you're
was-
talking about that was a Kanto
think
only
I-
thing, I think.
Yeah,
That was
No, I
because
think I
Giovanni was
remember
literally leading it.
Well, no, that wasn't just a Kanto thing, because
No.
that would have been
Giovanni.
Johto too, right?
No, they actually kind of left Giovanni alone because I guess he knew how to not draw attention to himself.
No, see, the thing is that the Pokemon League was separately corrupt from Team Rocket. Team Rocket was not in control of the Pokemon League. They existed as a separate organization from the Pokemon
right, you're
League.
talking about Lance. You're talking about Lance. Sorry.
What? No. Are you fucking...
Wait. No.
You know, it's been a while. I think I'll just
I
reread
have
the
to
adventure
fucking-
manga.
Yeah, I'm gonna reread it because I feel like that it wasn't that bad.
Dude, they literally had people killed. Fucking Koga was an assassin. That was...
He was working for Team Rocket the whole time, you fucking...
Yes, but
Koga
they were
was-
also working for the Pokemon League.
Yeah.
Like-
he was secretly working for Rocket, and he was killing people that Rocket was having
they
problems
they
with.
were not secret about it at all. Fucking Sabrina, Surge, Koga, they were all in on it. It was corrupted to the top. It was basically, so the best way to put this, it's like the Chicago government, where the Mafia existed, but the Chicago official government also existed, and they were just as corrupt. But they weren't part of the Mafia. But they,
I feel like you're misremembering things. but
It's
I will check.
been so long.
The Pokemon Adventures just does it. I don't know about the rest of them, like the ones that came after the initial run of Pokemon Adventures, but the initial Pokemon Adventures manga was fucking crazy.
Dude, it was also the first time where it's like, so what happens if a Pokemon takes too hard of it? Oh, they just die. That Onix is just dead. Oh,
Oh, yeah.
god.
Yeah, that too, yeah. But yeah, also all three lores are separate. But yeah. Like, for example, in the game, no one actually works with Team Rocket. None of the gym leaders have anything to do with Team Rocket. They removed that from the game. Or I guess they never put it in, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the adventure manga came after the games, I'm pretty sure.
I think
Yes.
so, yeah.
It went games, anime, then you got Pikachu Edition when the anime started showing. Then the manga came in sometime after that.
I thought it was games, manga, then anime.
Not for this one.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this was the 90s where like the formula we're familiar with today was like, if you're lucky, you'll get an anime first. If you're super lucky, you'll get a game first. And if you're just batshit insane like Transformers, you get toys and then an anime and a comic at the same time.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, the toys came first, then the anime, then the American comics, completely separate,
Yeah.
technically unlicensed.
Yeah, that was the best part. Anyway, so let's see. Author's note. I had this idea a long time ago before I wrote The Son of Sunny Shore, and I put it on hold because back then I was unable to come up with the vital pieces to make a villain story believable. Villain teams are a crucial aspect of Pokemon lore no matter which version of the game you play, true. Big true. That's one of the reasons why I don't play the new Pokemon games, because the villain teams are all jokes. Even if Guzma is possibly one of the most based people in the game,
Best theme as well. By the way.
amazing theme, outstanding fucking theme. Team Skull, just in general, was a joy, but they were a terrible villain team. I don't particularly fancy stories that are basically showing the MC giving a good ass whooping to every villain team they see simply because they're just the bad guys. Well, see, the thing is that typically the bad guys are, they have to be incompetent to a certain level. Because usually, especially in a world like Pokemon, where being
The character, the 10-year-old has to somehow save the world.
well, no, it's not that. It's in Pokemon, for example. It doesn't matter how fast you can personally run. If you're smart in the Pokemon world and you can catch a good Pokemon and you can train it well, you can make shit buckets of money, and you don't have to commit crime. So the people that end up committing crime with Pokemon are usually incompetent, stupid, with weak Pokemon, and are more of a nuisance than anything else. Because again, Pokemon can basically become weapons of mass destruction, and you can bet your ass that any government that exists ever would not let someone who is a competent criminal walk around with a pocket nuke. It just wouldn't happen. Especially not
Also,
when...
Voltorb exists.
Oh, yes. I never played the Pokemon games. Am I missing out? No. They were great when you were a child. Especially the early games when you were a child, because they were just so much simpler and didn't have all these fucking mechanics and shit. All you did was click Earthquake and you just won red. But honestly, no, you're not missing out, and they're not as enjoyable as an adult, to be honest. It's why our generation ended up coming up with these hundreds of challenges. Oh, this is the Nuzlocke challenge, this is the blind challenge, this is the randomizer challenge, because the games are just so fucking easy that unless you're doing some obnoxious challenge that makes it arbitrarily more difficult for you, it offers almost no enjoyment.
Ah, yes, Nuzlocke, also known as the darkest dungeon, but Pokemon.
Bro, I never used a consumable. Period. Never used a consumable, period. Fucking...
I still don't know how you did that.
I just never did, because I always saved them up. Like, even when I was a fucking 9-year-old, I was like, but what if I need it later? And then I would beat the game.
Listen, if it wasn't... Listen, the only consumables I used were whatever brand of potion was available in the store, like, right? Like, I didn't use Max Revive. Like, I used Revives because I knew I could get Revives like candy.
Yeah,
and I used like potion, right? First you could get potions, and then you can get hyper potions, and then you could get, or was it mega potion, whatever, right? Getting successive generations of them.
Now you have so many ROM hacks and fan games that all feel the exact fucking same, except for the Nuke fan game. That was kind of cool. Yeah, that was that was fucked up. This is your rival.
game.
Oh yeah, by the way, your rival just fucking exploded in a nuclear fission accident. It's like, Jesus Christ. By the way,
he caused.
all of these towns also just exploded because of terrorist attacks at the nuclear power plants. It's like, fucking holy shit.
It was a fan game.
Yeah.
And it
My
was
favorite thing in
amazing.
the OG games was speed crits. Yeah, that's fair. Honestly, and then the only time I ever used consumables was during the Pokemon Elite Four challenge, because I was too stubborn to go and train up more Pokemon. So I would usually just have like the 2 or 3 that I actually wanted to use, and then the rest of them would be chaff, so I could get a max revive off or something. But again, because of the Pokemon Elite Four was typically the end of Pokemon, I didn't have a problem spending consumables at that point. But I still never used shit like X accuracy or any of the consumable boosters.
Sneaky, no one uses X accuracy.
Well, apparently Kaz here does.
Who the fuck uses X accuracy?
Apparently, Reborn that got released recently is getting put onto the same pedestal as Uranium, but I haven't tried that one yet. I haven't done any of the ROM. I downloaded a whole bunch of ROM hacks.
Reborn. Jesus.
I remember downloading the Moemon ROM hack because Max and I were laughing our asses off about it in Dark Souls 2, and I just never played it. I have it on my computer still. I never launched any of them. It's the same thing. It's the same problem as why I don't play Pokemon in general now. Because it's just like, it's Pokemon. Once you've played Pokemon, you kind of just...
I played Reborn.
That's it.
It was a thing. And that's the best way I can describe it. It basically went with Uranium's thing and dialed it up to 10.
Alright. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's like if you have to make it artificially hard to make Pokemon fun, and it is what it is. Like you can get some cool stories in there. Don't get me wrong. Like I loved Galactic's story. I loved that whole idea. The Team Magma and Team Aqua. I thought that was fucking hilarious and cool too.
Yeah.
Hell, even Team Rocket just being the Mafia, that was kind of cool. And, like, genuinely people were just scared of Team Rocket because it's like, they were the fucking Mafia. It's like, oh, okay. X accuracy makes a move 100% accurate, so only the 125-6 glitch can make you miss a move, including one-hit KO moves, at least in Gem Run. It was fun to steamroll. Bro, just use Earthquake. If you're playing Gen 1, just use Earthquake. You win.
Yep.
And if you're playing
Gen 2 as well.
Yeah, the Gen 2 as well. But if you're playing, was it Gen 3, Maulville?
I forget what.
Maulville was Gen
just
3,
remember,
right?
the solution to Earthquake spam in Gen 3 was not to nerf Earthquake.
Pokemon.
It was to just Earthquake you.
Yeah.
Looking at
Tauros
you,
was bullshit
Cynthia.
in Gen 1, yeah.
No, Cynthia would just guard chomp and fucking
Maulville
you.
was Maulville was Gen 3. In Gen 3, Earthquake as well. Gen 4, I believe was Bulldoze. No, Bulldoze was Gen 5. Right? When was Bulldoze
Listen,
added?
I just went, haha, Fly makes me invulnerable for a turn. Fuck you.
Yeah. I mean, the games are just so easy. There's certain moves that are like I don't think I ever used a one-hit KO move in Pokemon.
Well, that's because there's no reason to.
Yeah, honestly, like I fucking went through Gen 3 literally with only one Pokemon. It was a Gardevoir that I EV trained to have maximum special attack, and I gave her Psychic.
Okay, you can't say, oh yeah, I trained up a Gardevoir, game's easy. Gardevoir was literally the most broken fucking Pokemon in
Gardevoir
that
with
generation.
max special attack, with the personality trait that gave her more special attack, and then I gave her Thunder Shock, Psychic, Hypnosis, and Dream Eater, and boosted that shit to maximum PP, and fucking steamrolled the game.
Is it weird that the best personality for Gardevoir was making her literally psychotic?
No. That's just basic bitch shit, man. Bulldoze Gen 5, yeah, Bulldoze was fucking broken. Teams were designed so you couldn't bulldoze the gyms in Reborn. Well, we'll see about that. Surf and Strength was basically all you needed in most games. That's fair as well, yeah. Yeah, Pokemon games are just so fucking easy. It's kind of just like a... I don't particularly fancy stories, blah, blah, blah. I just want to explore the possibility of a villain OC where a universe where Pokemon are real. Alert! Due to the nature of this story, which is obviously Team Rocket-centric, I would like to warn you that you might be uncomfortable with shit that happens in this story. It's going to be very dark. You have been warned. This story was heavily inspired by a fan-made Pokemon game of the Fire Red Edition. Fire Red Rocket Edition by Conal Salt. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm a big fan of playing fan-made ROMs, hacks or not, because I'm able to enjoy the Pokemon experience that's different from the official games, and there's literally a whole new world. Sure, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Best Team Rocket game allows you to steal Pokemon like a true Team Rocket member and advance through the ranks of the organization because the plot of the game is very well crafted. Sadly, the game was never completed.
Yes, the other problem with Pokemon fan games.
Yeah, the other Pokemon fan game issue is the wow, walls of text a little bit here. Yeah. Oh wow. Hydreigon is your first Pokemon. Yeah, okay.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah. Your pardon
Who
has been
decided?
begged.
Who would give that as someone's first Pokemon? Hello?
Don't worry about it.
Child, for your first Pokemon, I give you a pissed off Charizard. Make it work.
What Rocket Edition is ever finished? Fair. Final boss, Professor Oak, after he kills 10 people. Based.
Of course, given how fan games tend to go, Professor Oak will just be Lamau Sans.
You have two options. The first pill will let you finish your current project. The second pill will let you start a new project. Wait, did you just eat both of them? Yeah. Fair. Wow. Okay, so we got a. So we're moving on to the Avatar: Last Airbender section for the to finish off the night. We have the first story in this section is a "I'm horny for Zuko" fanfic.
As is tradition.
Yep. The next story is an AU where Aang is evil. The next story is a 3-shot Aang Titans Katara story. The
So
next
vanilla.
story is an Azula times Sokka fic posted on AO3. The next story is Growing Pains. There is no instruction manual for growing up, and there certainly is not one for falling in love. We can disagree on that one. Feelings have never come easy for Kona, the OC, and these new feelings are only making life more complicated. But torn between duty and love, can Kona's heart survive the climax of the 100-Year War? I'm horny for Zuko fic. Okay. Should have figured by the name of the author.
What gave it away?
Woman. Hope's return. The great spirits can wait no longer. Nearly 10 decades have passed since the war began, and the balance is almost completely tilted in the favor of darkness and evil. In a few months, the comet will destroy all hope for the world, and they must act. The Avatar must be reborn. Katara times Aang. Gender swap.
I wonder how fucked up this is gonna get.
What? Like, see, the problem with gender swapping Katara is that, like, 99% of Katara's personality and history is specifically because she was one of the oldest females left alive in the tribe.
And one of the only benders left.
Yeah, and one of the only benders left, yeah. So she was basically, like, the group mom. And also, like, one of the only reasons why the tribe stayed alive. Because all of the men kept going off to fight and shit. So, changing her gender would massively impact. I expect, give up on Avatar: Last Airbender. There's too much shit in that section. Fair. It's going to be completely canon compliant with just Katara and Aang being opposite genders. Knowing fanfic authors, probably. Let's see. Disclaimer: I don't own Avatar: The Last Airbender. No shit. This is my second
Dude,
Avatar.
what if the main character of the story was hot? Literally fuck these, like, stories.
Yeah. This is a Avatar fic. It's a again.
I don't like that again.
If you look at my profile, you'll notice it's a pattern. This isn't a role swap fic, though.
Oh boy.
I'm just gonna highlight this part here and
Move on.
not say anything. Gonna leave that highlighted. Holy shit! Well, they have an interesting profile here that's not only copy paste. They actually have an interesting section early on. They have 46 stories, with apparently all of them being gender swapped.
I see.
Female Chris, female Harry, female Aang, female Ravenclaw Harry, times George Weasley.
Where do people get these ideas?
What the fuck is this story? Okay, so this is their Avatar story, the one they mentioned that they also was gender role swapped. Inversion. 100 years ago, the Avatar kept the balance of the world. Everything changed when the Water Coalition attacked. The Water Coalition, so all 50 people of the Southern Water Tribe and all 100 people of the Northern Water Tribe attacked the industrial centers of the world?
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was quickly suppressed.
I remember that AU, that alt history AU, where the Eskimos rose up against industrial America and took it over. Yes, that AU, that is totally believable. Yeah. Do you remember the story when the Eskimos attacked? Are autistic female fanfiction writers better than non-autistic female writers, or are they both equally as cringe? Yes. The question will have to go forever unanswered, unfortunately. Underplayed. So anyway, the Water Tribe attacks. When the world needed the Avatar the most, they failed to defend it. A century of war later, two Fire Nation siblings find a girl trapped inside a rock. Gender-bent Katara Aang role swap with evil Water Tribe. So, this is an Aang times Katara story. The two Fire Nation siblings are Katara and...
The biggest problem with this is if you don't also change Jesus, what's his name? Sokka?
yeah.
That changes his entire arc. So how much of his arc is based around the fact that I'm losing to my sister?
All of it. Literally all of it.
Exactly. Like, right? He's a man, but he's losing to Katara. He's losing to Aang, who, although Aang is a man,
Aang
is
he's literally younger.
Yeah, and
then Toph comes into the picture.
Yeah, the other thing was that because of his age,
he was left behind.
Sokka was the oldest boy left behind, and he was kind of like left in this spot of like he's supposed to help the village like hunt and shit, but he couldn't really do it. And so his sister ended up catching all of the fish and doing all of the stuff that he was supposed to do as the guy, and yeah.
Which, I mean, credit to him. He did try. Like, he just had no one to teach, right? How do I hunt a seal? Fuck if I know. Well, my sister doesn't have to because she just fucking water bends it and snaps its neck.
Yeah. Yeah, see, this is the problem. Like, you can sort of get away with gender swap stories with, like, Harry Potter, for example, because Harry Potter is explicitly isolated from the greater world for about 10 years, and Harry being a boy or a girl when they're a baby literally means nothing to the plot. So a gender swapped Harry, well, what if Harry was a girl? Stories actually sort of work as an AU premise that could be interesting and where it goes. Because certainly a girl Harry would definitely change the directions of plot that occur in Harry Potter, and it wouldn't overall affect how the world operated in Harry Potter. But in other worlds, like fucking hell, what comes to mind here? Yeah, like Avatar, for example. Yeah, Avatar is actually a great example of how this shit just doesn't work. Like the one fucking setting, it doesn't actually work.
I mean, I can think of a couple other. I mean, there's some like the Wheel of Time where
Oh yeah,
the story
Wheel of
just
Time. Like it's actually important who's a man and who's a woman. Yeah,
like so much of that wouldn't happen.
yeah,
What are you talking about? The Amazon show made it work.
yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
Harry Potter in the modern day would get Vernon arrested in 5 seconds. True.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
See, that's another problem I have with the fics that skip forward in years, where it's like this fic is taking place in 1980. And
Well,
it's
actually, no. I
specifically-
know how Vernon would not be arrested. He's got a license.
You don't have a license to beat your children. They revoked those.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not allowed in Britain anymore.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Honestly, they shouldn't have, but hey, it's where we are. But like specifically, if a fic is written in 1980, and it's like all of these events that occur only can occur because no one's able to record them because that technology doesn't exist yet.
Well, and let's be clear, there's also a much greater culture of right, and this is like very specifically something that happened in England.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it happened all over the world, but like England very specifically had a culture of young boys roughing each other up or getting roughed up, and that was part of toughening up and becoming a guy. Like
Yeah.
that disappeared much sooner in, for instance, America, because they didn't have this good old boys set of schools where
Yeah.
hazing was just something that happened.
Yeah. Did Vernon ever beat Harry or just abuse him emotionally and verbally and lock him in a cupboard? I wouldn't say he beat Harry. He definitely shoved Harry around canonically. Petunia did canonically bash his head in with a frying pan one time. I say bashed his head in, but she really just bonked him in the face with a frying pan.
Which, I mean, still painful, but
after it had been on the oven, let's be clear.
yeah.
So
I forgot
so
about
it
that
was
part.
it was a cooking heat level frying pan that she hit him in the face with. So yes,
I
it
honestly
wasn't...
forgot how fucking monstrous Petunia is.
Oh yeah,
Just
it was
on a
really
general
fucked up.
scale.
But yeah, no, they never beat Harry. Like there was never a moment where they like Vernon's holding Harry down as he's smashing his fists into him or anything. Like, yeah, he was shoved around by Vernon. Now, let's be clear here. Canonically, the boys did physically bully him. The Dudley and his gang did physically bully him.
Yeah.
But again, it was never to the length where he's like coming home covered in bruises with a broken arm, a snapped rib, and one eye. Like some fan fiction likes to portray. Again, Vernon mostly shoved him around, maybe pressed him against the wall and shouted at him, but like never like I'm gonna swing my meaty fists into your face sort of shit.
Yeah, I would say certainly never. It's time for the belt, Harry.
Yeah, no, there's no belt either. Yeah, and the belt never happened. Yeah.
Meanwhile, Petunia, I hate you because you stand for everything my sister was, and I hated my sister, so I'm going to take it out on you.
Now, Petunia, actually, the only time she ever really, like, abused Harry was, canonically, was the frying pan incident. Now, admittedly, she did go along with a lot of the abuse that Vernon and Dudley did heap on him, but canonically, she never really degraded him. She never really abused him. Like, yes, she yelled at him to go do his chores. Yes, she gave him unreasonable chores, but she wasn't sitting there screaming about how he's a freak and how all magicals need to be purged in the holy flame of Christianity's light or some shit, Dudley's gang would probably get away with it in a modern day because Harry isn't a foreign refugee. Possibly. But yeah, schools like Smeltings don't really exist anymore as far as I'm aware in Britain. Like, the whole idea of these, like, criminally degenerate boy schools where, like, they kick the shit out of you and haze you to make you act like a proper young boy, those don't really exist anymore.
Yeah. It's a whole thing, but like even accelerating it forward just 20 years, like
Even accelerating it 10 years, like the 90s brought about so many technological changes.
Well, and not just changes, but like I hate to say it, but like social awareness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And making efforts to reach out to people who may have been in situations where they desperately needed help but weren't able to access it, or even things like, it's going to sound ridiculous, but like telling kids it's not okay for your parents to hit you. It's not okay for them to call you stupid.
The 90s and early 2000s was definitely a really massive surge in the the DARE campaigns, the safety at home campaigns. Smeltings reminds me of Bullsworth. Yeah, it basically is kind of based on the same idea. Yeah, so it like or shit like Ranma. Ranma is another great example of why you can't just accelerate the timetable and put Ranma in like the 2020s or something. The reason why Ranma was able to get up to so much hijinks, specifically because it was taking place between the 70s and 80s, and a lot of shit was
take like video of Ranma transforming.
Well, no, that's not even the point. The hijinks themselves, where his father was making deals with everyone, and like he was making pen and paper deals with everyone, and they weren't being filed into some legal system, and they weren't like being digitally made, and there was no real
Ranma's
place.
dad was committing a shitload of check fraud at the end.
Oh yeah, he was committing a bunch of economic fraud. And none of this could really be tracked all that well due to the fact that they moved so often. They didn't keep, like a mailing address, and there was no way for the people that there was no real way for martial artists themselves to get into contact with each other. Like, there was no martial artist form. I'm sure there is one nowadays, but in the 70s, there was no online forum that martial artists could get together and talk about shit on. And so there was no real way for people to send out word about Genma, so which is why he kept getting away with so much fraud, is because, if he just moved faster than the news about himself, he could keep doing it.
Well, and of course it right, another thing that's important is, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but like the fact that, right, so Nose was wrong in that, people taking pictures of transforming Ranma, because that wasn't the issue. But what would be significant would be the fact that, like, he can get away with making the deals he does with female Ranma because she doesn't exist.
That too, yeah.
But, like, in 2020, for instance, that's much easier, right? Like, well, first of all, obviously the concept of like paying to marry off a kid isn't like acceptable even in the 80s in Japan. But leaving that aside, even if it was, you'd have to get around the fact that someone would go, hey, wait a minute, it says here that you don't have a daughter, so who the fuck is this?
Yeah, stuff like that as well, yeah. Now, photos were a thing in, I think it was the 80s, taking place in Ranma, takes place in the 80s. Photos were a thing. and they were actually a plot point multiple times, where Ranma was going around destroying the photos, but like they were literally developing them in a dark room.
Yeah.
So just them being digital would have changed multiple plot points. The fact that these various martial artist groups were capable of hiding for as long as they were, simply because the mountains they lived in were so treacherous and hard to map that they could just keep hiding and kill anyone that actually did make it. Eventually, with technology like drones and satellites, those areas would have been mapped. Gemma would get arrested for human trafficking? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
100%. Very easily. Like, there's quite a number of fics that actually do explore that point, and where eventually Genma gets caught on broadcast television, and a bunch of police stations were like, hold on a second, we all have paper records about this guy, and so they all went to report to the federal government about this, we have records for him, and then all of these police stations showed up, and everyone was like, oh. Ooh. Ranma would grift off of the trans wave? Yeah, probably. Wasn't marriages generally only a thing because the supposed fiancés were from traditional families, barring the cook girl? The cook girl was also from a traditional family, whose dad was also a total shitbag.
Yeah.
Sort of. The whole thing with the whole marriages was more of a reference to the more archaic traditionalism. Because, the martial artists were supposed to basically be rejecting modernity and the whole idea of, like, doing your own thing. Multiple characters that were sympathetic to Ranma were shown to be not approving of the whole marriage deals that he got into, because they were also city folk and more modern in their opinions, and it was a thing. And she was from a traditional family. Again, it's another instance of shit only worked like that because of the time period it's happening in. Would Harry Dresden be another one? Because I know he has his tech aura.
Well, no. So they, it's weird in that. So there's two built-in caveats for that. One, technology appears to be slowly adapting to magic, or magic is slowly adapting to technology. We don't know which. Like, because it used to be that wizards would fuck over cars, period.
Mm.
But now if it's from, like, the 1960s back, the car will be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if not fine, work 85% of the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also the built-in caveat of wizards know that they fuck with technology and therefore explicitly avoid it. And then there's a third one, which is literally power level. Like, Harry Dresden is one of the most powerful wizards alive. His tech destroying aura is much worse than, like...
Right, but that's what I'm saying, though, is like, in the 90s, tech was very isolated. But in the 2020s, everyone's got a phone, so literally him just walking down the street would just vaporize everything. Like, cars, super, like, advanced now in terms of electronics. Like,
so Harry Dresden has actually moved into the modern timeline. Like, it does actually move into, like, the 2020s and stuff.
Okay.
And basically it's after a certain amount of experience, wizards aren't, unless they choose to, they generally aren't passively emitting a tech destroying aura, or if they are, like, it's a damage over time, generally speaking.
Right.
Like, unless they specifically choose to go, fuck that piece of technology.
Because I know the Harry Dresden series has been quite long running, and so I imagine the
Gotta
author
make sure you
would
have
had
that warranty now.
Yeah, I figured the author would have had to at some point go one way or the other with it because, like I said, 2020 is massively different in the amount of tech on everyone's person compared to even the early 2000s. And so when you have a long-running series like that and you want to keep it in line with the timeline of reality, you just have to. You have to come up with something.
Yeah, and basically it's the stronger the wizard, the worse they mess with tech, and wizards can learn to control it, and they can also then, after they've learned to control it, actively send it out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Which, and to be clear, it's basically the equivalent of, I'm just gonna throw raw magic at this piece of technology, and something's gonna happen. Either it's going to short itself out, or it's going to catch fire, or it's just going to explode. I don't know what it'll do, but that won't be working.
So anyway, let's get back to this this person's premise. We're not going to read their chapters because honestly, I'm just scanning through this real quick. Their chapters look to be grammatically correct. Their spelling looks to be correct. They got some walls of text issues going on here, but nothing too bad at all. But so let's read their author notes. I want to clarify something. I like Zuko. He's a good character, and there's nothing like a good redemption arc. Fucking cringe. I swear to God, this whole redemption arc shit's gotten out of hand. But oh my God, the amount of Spirit Zuko, Avatar Zuko, Spirits Love Zuko, he's the real hero fics are making me want to scream, especially because some of them would be really good if not for the overused plot lines in them. While I like Zuko, I honestly don't think he'd be a good Avatar.
Oh God, no.
No, terrible. If
If he
kept
started
in
as the Avatar,
Yeah.
yeah,
no, it's just. I mean, the whole plot of Avatar: The Last Airbender would just be completely ruined. And I'm not talking about the plot of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm talking about the plot that introduces Avatar: The Last Airbender. Because it's like if Zuko was the Avatar, the Fire Nation would just win, and that's it. Story's over. Done. I prefer Aang. I hate the way many Zuko fans make Aang a weak side character to make Zuko seem better. It's unfair to them both. I've always looked for stories with Aang as the main character, but so many are abandoned or just short. That's because it's very difficult to write Aang as a character in fanfiction that isn't just a retread of everything the original did, because the original was actually quite excellent in developing Aang as a character, and if you want to develop Aang as a good character, you basically have to do what the original did. Even Aang isn't a good character compared to past avatars. Yeah, I mean, I've seen comics that make fun of that, where Aang's like, "Oh, I don't want to kill people. I should have asked the past avatars what I should do. Past avatars kill people. Next avatar kill people. Next avatar kill people." And Aang's just like, "Is there anyone that isn't suggesting kill people?" And one of the avatars is like, "Hey, Aang, if everyone's suggesting you kill people, maybe the answer's actually to kill people."
But no, my righteous pacifist principles.
Yeah.
And then he finds out, oh, hey, I can just energy bend.
I did find it very funny, though, that Aang's like, oh, ooh-woo, pacifism, ooh-woo, Avatar, it's not Avatar Roshi, Head Monk Roshi, or whatever his name was like the best. He's my role model, and just like that never pays attention to the fact that Roshi was found surrounded by like 30 dead bodies of the Fire Nation. That he did so much fucking damage when he died that they had to leave every dead body there. They couldn't even evacuate their dead. He did so much damage to the invading army.
Yeah.
And Aang sitting here like, ooh woo, but he told me peace is good. Ooh woo, I can't hurt people. And it's just like, bro, your fucking mentor is a mass murderer. Not that I disagree with what he did, but he's a mass murderer.
No, not only is he a mass murderer, he's very successful at it.
Oh, yeah, the airbenders killed people? Bruh, they killed so many fucking people. that the
hang on.
Fire
Let's
Nation.
be clear. Let's be clear.
Yeah.
They didn't go looking for
Oh,
it.
they didn't go looking for it, but they were
But
so
boy, did
good
they
at killing
continue
people.
it.
Yeah, they were so
Basically,
good at
they
killing people that the Fire Nation, 100 years later, actively still hunts down any rumor of Air Nation people existing to kill them off.
To be fair, that's because they fucked around and found out.
Like, because, right, you think about it, there are a bunch of, right, I am convinced half the reason that air monks were taught a bunch of non-lethal techniques was because one of the first things they teach those people, as soon as they stop being kids, one of the first things they teach them after they gotten them to be all relaxed and chilled is, okay, listen, we are actually the most dangerous people in the world because we can just pull the air out of people's lungs and collapse them.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing, though. Is like the air
you
monks
need to be wary of how much power you have.
Yeah. Well, not only that,
basically.
the air monks were based off of the Buddhist war monk. So, you know, those guys that basically all they do is meditate about the state of life and train on how to break you 19 ways from Sunday.
Yeah.
Peace can be achieved if all non-pacifist people are dead. Air monks, probably. Yeah. Well, see, that's the other thing that I always hated about the depiction of pacifism in Hollywood, was Hollywood always depicts pacifism as like, ooh, woo, I don't want to hurt people. Where pacifism, in reality, is, I won't attack you. I won't make aggressive moves towards you. But if you start a fight, I will be finishing it. That's real pacifism.
Yes. But yeah, it's just like, right? I am convinced that even if they don't talk about it in the show, like, half the reason they spent so much time training them to be chill is because, yeah, listen, like,
You have a
of
lot
all
of
the
power on
benders,
your shoulder,
you
yeah.
have the easiest ways to just kill people, right? Like,
Yeah.
earth bending. Yeah, I can bend a spear of rock into someone, but that takes conscious thought and effort, right? I gotta do that. But
well,
like,
it's not only that though. But earth, fire, and water are all very, very obvious when you're bending them. Bending
yeah,
the air out of someone and they just choke and die, no one will ever know it's you.
yeah, or sneaky, or even, right, part of it is the motions you have to go through, right? Like, okay, human beings, as we know, are psychologically averse to harming other humans, right? An entire part of military training is training out an inbuilt psychological desire to not hurt other people. Part of that's literally part of our, right, part of the military training is getting people over the psychological hang up of hurting other human beings. And of course that doesn't work all that well because of PTSD, but that's another story, right? All of the motions for bending are inherently aggressive, right? Like, the motions that you have to make to bend a spear of rock at someone, throw a fireball, whip them in the face with water so hard it will cut them.
Punching, pointing,
all of those,
slashing,
But like, whatever the bending motion for pulling air out of someone isn't going to be all that inherently aggressive. It's going to be even easier to be pissed off and, right,
yeah.
just clench a fist and pull it back towards you, right? Oops, I pulled the air out of their lungs and I collapsed it.
Right, and yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, not only is like, say you get mad as an earthbender and you punch a rock at someone, it's like, okay, maybe they got like a broken bone or something. Maybe you hit them in the head and they died instantly. But, you know, maybe you just punched a rock at them and it hit them and they got a good bruise. Maybe it cracked a couple bones. That's healable. If you get mad at someone as an airbender and you punch them with air and the air evacuates from their lungs and their lungs invert and now they're just dead, they're fucked, period, end of story. You know, they're not coming back from that.
Yeah. Right. Oh no. Oh, I firebent at someone and I inflicted 3rd-degree burns. That's terrible. But they'll probably live, right? I bet water at someone. That's the hardest one of all to accidentally commit a homicide with.
That's fair, yes.
Well, not if you're a bloodbender.
Well, yes,
I didn't-
Bloodbender does
I
change
said
things
water.
a little bit.
Bloodbenders are completely different.
No, they're a subshoot.
No, Max, I'm
So-
sorry. I mean in terms of when you bloodbend, why you bloodbend, and the people who can do it.
To be fair, Katara's often seen as the most peace-loving person. She bloodbends.
What the fuck are you smoking?
Katara was absolutely ready to commit to do a murder, to do a crime.
Katara was right behind Sokka on the Geneva violations train.
Do we need to talk about the entire arc where she goes, "Oh, bloodbending is horrible and we should never do it," to "It's time for me to commit some bloodbending murders."
To be fair, that wasn't the person that killed her
Yeah,
mother.
welcome to Twitch. 2.5 minutes
that-
of unskippable ads.
That was an act of revenge, not an innate that was not an innate trait of her
that's
character.
That's like saying, like, oh, this character who is traditionally never killed nearly kills someone because they killed half of their family.
All right, you know what? That's a fair point. Objection retracted. But my point is,
I still find it
bloodbending.
funny.
When I say completely different, Max, what I mean is what you do with bloodbending is very different from what's happening with waterbending. I understand that there's one is a subshoot of the other. My point is, I bend water at you and I whip you in the face. It's very hard for me to accidentally kill you doing that. It's very easy for me to accidentally kill you bloodbending.
Sneaky needed 2.5 minutes to talk about the war crimes. Yeah, the ads came just in time as we talked about the war crimes. But yeah, their other story, the role swapping one, is even dumber than I thought it would be. Where it's like, yeah, secretly the water nations who have no technology, no capability for technology, and literally live on fucking icebergs, just have the same scale of industry as the show had the Fire Nation have, despite not having the bending for it. Because again, half of the power of the Fire Nation was all of the firebenders being like, yo, we're firebenders. By the way, engines are cool.
Yes. Well, and like it's dumb, but literally, I'm in a tank.
Yeah. And so it's like, what if this is literally, what if the waterbenders had the same level of technology as the firebenders, except they don't have the resources for it, there's no reason for them to be that technologically advanced, and they don't have the bending to do it, and it's like, they don't have the like, where are they gonna get all the food? Like, the Fire Nation had literally, very, very, life-filled islands. What do you call them? Fertile. They had very fertile islands that grow shit tons of food on to support their nation. Where do the water nations live? The Arctic fucking Circle. Where are they gonna plant their corn and grains? Oh, in the snow? On the iceberg?
Where are they going to acquire all that iron? Like, let's be clear. Like, Industrial Revolution manufacturing processes were hideously wasteful.
Oh, yeah, hideously, yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Not just in terms of of fuel usage, but material usage, right? Like,
that's why I'm saying is that's how the Fire Nation got so advanced in terms of technology, is because they could replace a lot of the combustion engine requirements with just using firebenders.
Yes. Well, and part of the reason they showed that there was such a you know what, this was actually credit to one thing that Korra did, was they were able to jump forward technologically so well because people knew what lightning was, and people knew that you could make lightning as firebenders.
Right.
So all it takes is one dude with an Einstein or a Tesla to go, hey, wait, we can use this to power stuff.
Right, yeah.
And sure, lightning bending is rare in firebenders, but part of that was artificial control by the royal family, because if we don't teach people how to do this, most of them aren't going to figure it out on their own.
Also, the
then-
fact that lightning tended to kill people that learned it, and that it was highly dangerous once you did learn it, because you could just insta-give people. Because
It also apparently
lightning.
fucks with your
Right,
head,
saying,
but
my
we're not
point
sure
was-
on that one.
The upper echelons of the firebending society kept it to themselves because they encouraged a society of might makes right, and you don't like your boss, kill him and take his job. Don't fuck up though.
And so they were all like, No, which I will give credit for here. It's like, yes, we have a method of insta one-hit KOing people. Let's not let the masses have this, while we also have a culture of might makes right and kill your boss, take his job.
Yes, no, like I thought, yes, that's an incredibly good explanation.
Yeah.
And of course, it also doesn't help that they were doing firebending the quote-unquote wrong way.
And also, another key part here is that they did take over the Earth nations and had all the Earthbenders doing full-scale mining operations.
Yes.
And so it's like, yeah, that works out actually fantastically well, and it's actually a really good big credit to the original authors of the series. So, like, this shit doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, what if the Water Nation attacked everyone? So they got instantly fucking defeated? They had their fleet was composed of, 3 sealskin wood ships?
Something like that.
Like, oh boy! Yeah, I'm really fearing that nation.
Yeah. But, and again, credit to Korra. It's like, yeah, so once people figured out that you could use electricity, and once we could safely generate boatloads of it, people went nuts with electricity. Because why wouldn't they, right? Like, Firebender walks down to the generator station, makes lightning for a few hours, makes a few $100, and goes home, and now you've got a bunch of power. Ta-da!
Yeah, it's why I don't like that whole role swap shit, because it really doesn't work. The role swap almost never works out in a story, simply because the characters are the way they are due to the environment they grew up in, who their parents were, what the culture was at the time, where they lived. All of that shit goes into making a character who they are. And saying you can role swap a character and then shit will just either not change, or it will just make them the other character they role swapped into. It's like, A, what's the point of the story then? And B, that just flies in the face of literally all science.
Storytelling and common sense.
Science, common sense, and literally everything. And just
Well,
makes
I
for
was
a
gonna say,
dumb
I mean,
story.
it does kind of depend on what stuff. For instance, if you gender swap Luke and Leia,
Right.
part of the reason that Luke and Leia turned out the way they did is because they were very specifically sent to their respective parents. So if Luke is now Leia and still gets sent to the Organas, then no, not a whole lot will change. And if Leia is now Luke and gets sent to Owen, again, not a whole lot will change. Right? Because they were specifically sent to those family groups. But, I don't know, like Fire Emblem. Marth is a young prince. He's the second kid. He has an older sister. All of Fire Emblem would be dramatically different if Marth's old-ass dad isn't the one who has to go fight the Shadow Dragon when the Shadow Dragon first appears. If instead, it's Marth's older brother who has been trained as a warrior, has the sacred sword, and goes to fight the Shadow Dragon with the best knights of the land, whose job is to stop the dragon from appearing. Well, gee, you're not going to have much of a story there, are you?
Yeah, it just makes no fucking sense. Again, we can use a other story like Aragon. It's like, what if Morzan and Aragon role swapped? It's like, okay, so this is actually applicable because again, this is a case where they're half brothers and shit or something. Right, they're half brothers. Yeah, Morzan's wife and Brahm's wife were the same person. Yeah, they were half brothers. It's like, what if they role swapped? It's like, okay, so they'd probably be the Aragon would just act like Morzan, and Morzan would just act like Aragon.
Yeah, I was gonna say the problem that people don't realize is either your role swap's going to change everything,
Or it's going to change
or
literally nothing.
it will change nothing, and then what's the point, right?
Yeah.
Either you have to have reasons to give the audience to think that things will be different and in some capacity more interesting, or nothing will change, and then, well, what's the point of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe you have a
hello,
few
Naruto.
different character interactions.
I hate to break this to you, but this is where we end for the night. My bad. How did seeing hallucinations and being schizophrenic end series Azula use lightning and almost kill Zuko? Author Fiat.
I'm sorry, I'm not on my computer. What did you say?
Kazbat asked if lightning generation was so lethal to the person using it. How did Azula at the end of the series, where she was schizophrenic and having hallucinations, use lightning to almost kill Zuko? And the answer is author Fiat.
Yeah. It wouldn't be very interesting if Azula just died.
Do we take song requests? What part of Fanfiction Contempt Theater 9005 has anything
I think
to do
he's
with music?
asking if we play music while we're talking.
Why
and
would
the
we
answer
do
is
that?
no.
We're a
No,
talk
the
show.
answer is never.
Why would we play music while we're like, bro? Do you even listen to the radio? I mean, the honest question here. I'm like, this is like, no, this is real. This is like not disparaging. Like his generation, he might be of the generation that never has listened to the radio.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying. Well,
No, okay.
this goes back to one of my.
It's no
chief
problem, dude. No, it's no problem. But yeah, no, this is a talk show. We talk here. We bring up stuff on screen and we talk about the stuff on screen. We don't do songs in the background, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say listen, if a streamer has to have a bunch of music in the background to be interesting,
No,
they're not a very good
like I sort of get it. Like some people do like that whole variety stream stuff, or maybe they have like orchestra sort of shit going on in the background, or some more popular songs, or they have like viewer donations for popular songs to play next and shit like that. And
But I mean, that's even something completely different because that's a money-making scheme.
yeah, I know, but it's still a thing on Twitch, so I can understand being asked, but it's like we're not just we don't do that. Yeah. But, it is currently 9/12, which means I now release you all of your bonds. You are free once more, but I curse you all to come back on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because there's always more, and it always gets worse.